Hey guys, it's Alex from Christ the Rock Church, and we are going to be looking at Companion today. This is kind of some behind the scenes backdoor stuff that we're running for anyone that wants a better understanding of that, some of the modules we're using it, how we're using it, and just kind of some general information there. So, in case you guys aren't familiar with Stream Decks, most of our team is. They're little button panels that are letting us control various production machines or hardware devices from different locations remotely. So, down below here, I've got a video of what our one by our Lyric machine looks like. We've got a layer here that talks to, actually it's two layers, talking to the video switcher and remote controlling our projectors. And there are several machines that have different access to different things. That's at the user interface level. Then we're also running some stuff behind the scenes. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So all machines running Companion will have Companion in the dock in case it crashes. And it'll be up here in the top bar. You'll notice there's two similar ones. There's the Stream Deck software, and there's Companion itself, which is the one with the dot that streams outwards. So if we click on that, we'll get a couple options. We're going to go ahead and say launch user interface. Close out this stuff from the weekend. So this is our user interface. You'll have a list of everything that's connected here, and depending on what you're connecting, there's various issues. So you'll see here the ProPresenter is showing an error, and that is because ProPresenter is currently not open. So I'm going to go ahead and open that, and you'll notice it should switch to OK once it boots up here. There we go. And it's going to think for a minute. And now it's OK. So it does, everything talks in real time. And you can come in here and see. So, in this case, ProPresenter IP, it's looking for networking information. So a lot of these things are on VLANs. As long as they're all on a base building network, you should be able to use this and leave them on a VLAN as well. And because most computers are smart enough to process multiple VLANs, you can, keep everything partitioned as you need to for production, still have them talking to each other. So that's the main thing here. You can add a connection like this. As you can see, there are plenty of supported devices, and they're always adding more, so it's worth checking. You can do some pretty cool stuff here. So what we're going to dive into here is the virtual button or button simulator, and these things have like 100 pages, I think. So in our world here, we're using page 50, which you can see I've titled Ghost Buttons. And the reason we're using 50 is because no one wants to actually go on the unit and push up 50 times just to get to this page. So what's happening here is these are buttons that are being pushed digitally by mostly ProPresenter on this machine. And a lot of it's letting us do automated things in ProPresenter. So I'll show you a couple examples of what those things are and how that works. So the first thing we're going to look at is how we actually set that up. So we're going to come in here to Preferences and Devices. And notice I got this guy here called Ross Talk. I'm going to go ahead and add a new one. I don't want to get rid of this. New Ross Talk. So it's a more basic communication protocol that you can use to basically push these buttons from here. If I remember correctly, you don't want to change any of this. I turn auto reconnect on, so if something happens, it should reconnect itself. You can name it whatever you want to name it. Go back. And then the IP address needs to be your loopback 127.0.0.1. Just like that, right? And at that point, if I came in here and hit connect, that one should also connect. I don't want to cause any issues, so I'm not going to do anything with that. And that's about all you got to do in terms of adding it. So at that point, all all you have to do is come in here, and there's a couple ways you can add stuff to slides. You can see we have macros doing a lot of our stuff, but you can add an action, communication, ROS talk, and custom control. Or you can add it via macro. Now the reason that we're doing it via macros is because at the our system is very volunteer based, and it's a lot easier to teach our ProPresenter folks how to work with macros that are labeled and tell you what they do, rather than control change values, which is how ROStalk works. So if we come in here and look at this HyperDeck stop start record, edit action is custom control, and CC space 50:11 is the command outline, and Companion will actually tell you that if you go digging for it. I can't remember exactly where, but if we come in here and look at the button panel, 50:11 is this guy, right? And so what happens is if you click that macro, it will click this button, and that. So CC is telling you control change, space 50:11 is telling you what button. All of these right here are basically doing just control changes up here. You can do a lot of fun stuff with this. So we've got this countdown run through, service start, before and after service, and Sunday shutdown. All of those are talking to the video switcher, as you can see, and they are rerouting some of our aux sends. So what's going to the projectors in the room, what's going to our TVs in the lobby. That way we don't have to rely on a person being here to remember to switch those things, because a lot of times we'll play a slide after service for like 5 minutes and then we want it to switch to something else. So we'll put that on a timer in ProPresenter, which you can actually see down here. Right here, this is on a 120-second timer. When that's done, it'll jump down here, which will automatically switch back to our scrolling slides, and then switch the lobby TVs off of the room feed so they're scrolling again. What else we got going on here? We've got some HyperDeck connections, which we're still working a couple bugs out of. Concept being when our slides person starts the message, there's like a pre-routing for the bumper video. So they'll click this, it'll start recording our HyperDeck, and then the bumper video will play, and then we'll have our message. So when we go to upload our message after services, all we got to do is pop the card out for whatever service we want and take it upstairs. I'm sure you're thinking, well, how did you get your services on a separate card? You'll notice here I got HyperDeck card 1, HyperDeck card 2 with calendar events. So at 8:30 and 10:30, the ProPresenter will come in here and click each of these, which will switch which HyperDeck card slot is active. So 8:30, it's going to pick card 1, and then when they click it, it'll start recording. And 10:30, it'll pick card 2, and then when they click the bumper, it'll start recording, basically ensuring that there is one service per card for message recording. And then you'll notice there's also this HyperDeck card format. Having issues with the protocol through Companion on that one, but it will, it should, when we're behaving correctly, format the cards, which could also be put on the calendar. So in Sunday morning, it'll format the cards so they're empty, so they have enough space to hold, message 1, message 2. That is the gist of how Companion works. Basically, the sky's the limit. As long as there's a module in here for it. Could look at what else we got. So if we go back to, so this button emulator actually lets you look at hardware too. So this is the one that you saw earlier that actually is on a Stream Deck instead of being a digital one, which is mostly ATEM stuff, which as we move to automation becomes less of a problem. I also have these projector buttons up here. And you'll notice they have this very interesting URL. And you're probably wondering, well, how the heck did you find the URL to do that? There is an app called Wireshark. And if possible, you want to do this, late at night or something where there's not a lot of people in the building, because it actually sniffs like all your, it'll basically sniff all the traffic on your network. And if you're like me and you have all these VLANs and stuff going on, it can be hard to find. So basically, you run this sniffer and you turn your projectors on via the web interface. If this only works if your projectors are, fancy enough to have that. So, go in, and it's an HTTP command. So you sniff that, copy the command, and you'll get, which is this. So you'll get this, and you've isolated it with that sniffer, find it, and you paste it in here with its IP address. And then when you push the button, your projectors turn on. And you can do the same thing for turning them off. So the way that I have this set up is a latch button, which means when you click it once, the button will turn on to an on state, and it'll turn green. I'm not going to click it because I don't want projectors on. So you can see here the background. When you click it, the background of the button turns green to show you that it's on, and the text switches to black because white on green wasn't being so readable. And then unlatch actions, so it will stay in that state. Basically, once they turn them on, it'll stay green, showing the operator that the projectors are on. And the unlatch actions, same URL for the, I believe, but power off, right? We'll turn the projectors off, switch the background back to black like it is now, and switch the text color back to white like it is now. So back to this off state. And you can also use feedback from specific devices that will, so example, like when this key is on, it'll be red, which is what's happening right now. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this. You could also combine these together, so you can have multiple on actions, as you can see here, but for multiple devices. If we look at one of our downstairs machines has a macro that actually, when you turn it on, will route the video switcher, turn the projectors on. It'll fire a scene on our audio console that's set for funerals, and it'll throw a lighting scene to our lighting console all on one button. And it's designed for people coming in for a funeral to basically be a one-stop, turn the whole system on once everything is powered on and configure it correctly. Like I said earlier, the sky's the limit on this stuff. But that's a nutshell how it works. That CC number : number is kind of your is kind of your ticket on that. And once you kind of understand what that's doing, you can come in here, look at these. If something's wrong, edit it, stuff like that. So yeah, sky's the limit on this. And I hope that's helpful. I hope you learned something, and I hope you have a great day.